Whoa, hey man. Some of the topics in this video may be graphic for some. We at HVXgoat Productions do not condone the use of illegal or legal substances. This video has been made strictly for educational purposes. Enjoy, dudes.
We're back at the HVXgoat podcast, episode number 3. We have Harvester Bikes here. This is going to be a good one.
What's up? What's up?
Not too much, man. How's the drive here?
It's good. It's snowing.
Yeah, I know. I really wanted to go ride street today. It's kind of a piss off, eh?
Yeah, we brought our bikes. We didn't think it was going to snow.
Well, man, we can probably try and figure out if there's like any spots that are kind of covered. There's a couple, but security's pretty tight.
I want to check out that mall spot, the ledge.
Yeah. That one's dope.
Yeah.
There's a really cool stair set there.
Yeah.
And Ozzy and Travis were arguing yesterday about who's going to wall ride down that stair set.
It's never been done?
I don't think it's been done. I think it's been done by like one person.
Yeah.
And Ozzy's just wanted to do it for years. He just never comes to Kitchener. And Travis wants to do it, but he hasn't ridden in so long. So, but I think he's going to do it for spacegoats.
Is there a rail on that?
No, it's like there is, but it's right against the wall.
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, man, it's a kind of a cool spot. I 3'd that set for spacegoats.
Oh, yeah?
So it's it's like a 7 or 8, which is kind of cool, but it's super short. So like one of my BMX jams that I did.
Right?
Yeah. At the Raised in the Streets jam that I did, somebody was trying to tail whip down it. There was a bunch of shit that was going down. We had like 100 people in this tiny little area just riding this stair set. So it was a really cool one.
That's cool. Someone needs to wall ride it.
Yeah, man. They really do. You do jams too. Like what's how many different ones have you done now? You've done like 4 or 5.
5.
5? Wow.
Yeah. So the first one, our bunch of friends, everybody says that was the best one. That was Richmond Hill? You were there.
Yeah.
It was just the perfect spots. It was like a perfect introduction to the store opening. We had the ramps before that, but this was just another awesome thing that we did to like open the store, and like so many people came out from everywhere, no matter what. Everybody was there, and like the first spot is pretty much a street skate park.
Yeah.
So it was really sick, and like people didn't even want to leave the first place, and like I'm a little bit weird in crowds, like just a little bit shy when it comes to a lot of people. So I wanted to keep on the schedule, but everybody wanted to stay at the first spot. And I'm like, we gotta go. And everybody's like, no, let's stay here. This place is sick. There's so much shit. It's like spots everywhere.
Right.
And I just wanted to go on, and Ozzy's always helps me with the jams, and he's always like has another agenda where he's doing other things and that I'm not gonna mention, and that's awesome. So we're like we're running completely different things. I'm wanting to go, and he's wanting to chill, and like there's a lot of spots that need to get done, and like it's gonna be dark by the time we're done them all. So the first one was incredible. Then that was in Richmond Hill. Then the second one was in Downsview, Yorkdale. That was really good. It was cold. The first one was so good that we did a second one the same year because it was such a success. And then the third one was, I think, Yorkdale. That was amazing. And then the fourth one was Midtown. That was really good. You were at that one?
Yeah, I think so. I did a big rail hop at that one, I think. Yeah, that was a fucking awesome one,
and the weather
dude.
was great at that one. That was awesome. And then the last one was York University.
Right.
And that one was really good because I was so worried that we were going to get kicked out of York. And you were at that one too?
Yeah.
And it took like 3 hours or something, finally got kicked out. And then we started to head to the hood, and everybody was getting nervous. And like we live in that neighborhood, and like if the sun's out, there's no need to worry about being in the hood. But like, all these people that are from somewhere else, they kind of worry about being in a sketchy neighborhood. But like, I'll just give you guys a little tip. If the sun is out, don't be scared of the neighborhood. Like people were wanting to leave, and like there's this there was like these little kids hanging out, and I've heard the story from so many people. Like, it did not even faze me, and like everybody was saying there was these 3 little kids, and this little girl comes running up to them because there were so many BMXers, and she's like, something's happening, or like she's pretty much saying there's too many BMXers here, let's leave. And all these people took it a different way, and they thought something's happening, a gang is coming, we're all gonna die. So
that was a good one. I remember that too. That was a really cool spot that we were at first too.
Yeah.
Like the green rails where that happened, they were so cool. We moved down a little bit and everybody was fine, but
so just relax. Like,
and the thing that I kept laughing about is I'm like, dude, there's like 100 of us. What are they gonna do? Like,
like, and we're just like poor, dirty BMXers.
They're just gonna come out and look. That's all they want to do, man. Like, they don't have any issues.
Everybody likes watching people do tricks. So anyway.
Plus, dude, if you got D Block there, he's the most gangster motherfucker ever.
Now put the D Block clip in.
I fucking love D Block, dude.
Yeah, that guy is. Whenever he comes to my store, I fear for my life.
How did you first meet him?
So there's this customer of mine named Jared, who's like really cool guy, and he's like super cool dad. He's like into punk music, and like he skateboards, and he wanted to get into BMX, and he like lives in the hood, and like he's friends with all these fuck ups, and like there's a bunch of them, and this is just one of them. There's a few. They all have their own little issues, and they all love to come to my store. And this is just one of them, and they all, like, they used to come in and ask for me or for bike parts, and then they'd pay me, like, later on, and, like, I'd have to hunt the money down. And,
oh, fuck.
But, yeah. There's, like, a little, like, hood section off in my area, like Glen Shields. It's, like, where I live is super nice no matter what, but this is this little fucking area that's, like, all little ghetto, and, like, that's where these guys are.
Yeah.
Actually, that guy that D-Blocks drives a really nice BMW from the 80s.
What?
He does
That's
not
crazy.
have his license anymore, probably losing it or like something like drinking related. But he has this like beautiful 80s BMW in his garage. And every time I see him, I'm like, yo, can I buy that BMW from you? And he's like, nah. He's like, I'm holding on to it. It's beautiful. It's like so old. You open the doors and it smells like the old leather from like back in the day. It's like one of those pimped out little BMWs that you could throw some rims on and stuff. So, yeah.
That's sick, man.
Yeah.
The jam, I think it was Midtown, you were saying.
Uh-huh.
That jam was a lot of fun, man. There's a clip of me doing a rail hop there in the spacegoats. Uh-huh. And I remember looking at it, and there was a couple dudes that were looking at me like, they're like, oh, you won't do it. I was like, oh, fuck you guys. I turned around and just like, as they were walking away, hopped it.
Yeah, I remember that. It was awesome.
Yeah. And then I think it was Ozzy too. He told me, he's like, you're not going to do it. Then immediately land, I did it, Ozzy, in my fucking weird 17-year-old voice.
I think Ozzy just says that stuff just to piss you off.
Yeah.
He probably knows you can do it.
Ozzy does it, man. I love that he does that, though. That's like such a good way to push somebody, especially because how old school he truly is.
Yeah, there's in the Harvester DVD, the very last trick he does, that 27-step rail that he tells everybody in the world about. He has it on his phone, and he shows every person this clip, no matter who he meets. Check out this clip. And he talked about this rail forever, and like, I don't know, like that for him doing a big handrail, that's like what he's amazing at. But just to see that in person, and like if you watch the video, like it continues on for like the next minute of us just like screaming.
Yeah.
We did it first try, and it was like, you can hear from my voice in the video, like it was just Baker and I was there, and it was like crazy to see this guy do it. And then he has a story. Yo, I did a 27 set on my 27th birthday.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, Travis and Ozzy remind me so much of each other. Like, you can tell that Travis grew up around Ozzy, just the way that he is when it comes to clips and stuff like that, because he's the same way. Yeah. I remember when I first started hanging out with Travis, it'd be like, he'd be taking me home, but yeah, man, just check out this one clip. And I'm sitting in the driveway for half an hour just checking out these cool clips. And it was, you know what, it was really fucking cool because at the time I was like, Travis was one of the best riders that I knew.
Yeah.
And then now like everybody's just grown from each other and it's so cool. And
that's
still
BMX. That's like the people that you look up to. You learn from them and you like you get a skill from them. You learn tricks from them. So yeah.
Everything. It's pretty cool, man. Mm-hmm. It was definitely when I first met Ozzy. I think the first time that I ever met him, he was doing a foot jam on top of the 9-foot quarter at Trashmore, which has pool coping, and it's pretty gnarly. Like it's a super mellow bottom, so like if you fall, you could probably just slide down it. But here's the thing: Ozzy's the kind of guy that's gonna go drunk as fuck and pull it. And that was just crazy because I just remember seeing him on this old haggard bike. This bike at the time, I was like, I had a like super nice bike.
You saw him?
Yeah, it was one of the first times I ever saw him. Huge, heavy bike. And
it's probably like the McNeil Rubin.
Yeah, it was like some weird green color. I was pretty sure.
Rubin, probably.
Yeah. And
which is from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That probably was like 2006 or something.
It was definitely a while ago.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy seeing him do that because it's like he goes, tries it, eats shit, comes back, fucking drinks another beer, just pulls it. It's like, what the fuck, man? And that was the coolest thing that I'd ever seen done on that quarter pipe up until a couple years later. Yeah. There's like now people doing flares on it and shit. So
yeah, no, he's like he always like steps up. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like foot jam. I've seen him foot jam everything. Vanderhoof, the biggest quarter there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's no small fucking quarter too. That's big.
What's that? Cannington. There's this like crazy quarter with like this little thing. It's like a pool step, and like he took him like 10 tries. It's in one of the HVXgoats. Took him 10 tries to do that. He runs metal pedals, so the pin cut up the back of his leg like a shark.
Oh, fuck.
A shark bite.
Yeah.
Like huge, like in the old mid-school videos where they open up the gash and like make like talk. And yeah, he was so that was pretty sick. I know when he's like hustling for a foot jam, it's cool.
Yeah. He pulled a foot whip last night on a bank for spacegoats, so that was kind of a cool thing to film.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, that's I think the second clip that I have of Ozzy for this video.
That's awesome. Yeah. He's a good rider.
He is, man. He's really good.
Rider. Yeah. Even when he's like, he doesn't do anything for a while, he's always like, just surprises everybody. So.
Yeah. He's always he'll surprise everybody. That's for sure. I remember the last jam, which was York University, at the very end.
The rail.
Yeah. There's this steep as fuck green rail, like steep as fuck. My friend Jesse definitely probably would have hit it. It was just the end of the day. He was like, fuck this.
It was awesome.
Ozzy was just waiting around. Nobody touched it. Is nobody gonna touch this? What the fuck? And I just like run over with my camera right away because I knew it was going down. Like, oh my god, I gotta get this.
That's the end of the day when you're like the whole day's done. Everybody's tired as shit.
Yeah. And Ozzy will step up and he'll fucking make sure that everybody knows what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sick.
That was definitely a great one. How long have you known Ozzy for?
I knew him back in the day, like when I was a kid. He was always an asshole, so I didn't even like him. He was like I met him on the bus. We have 2 drunk buses in Toronto. Like when we go down to party, the young bus is the main drunk bus. It's a 24-hour drunk bus.
Right.
And then I took the Bathurst bus because I live more near Bathurst. But I met him. I reconnected with him on the bus. He came up. I don't know if I came up to him or what. And like he's like, "Hey, it's Harvester" or whatever. And then just from there, he grew up a little bit. So now we became really good friends. And it turns out he lived down the street from me.
Right.
So I've probably known him since 2012 or something when I started the store.
Right.
Up again, kind of the online. But when we were kids, he was a fucking asshole. So like,
that's awesome.
Like an internet asshole, and we didn't know each other. So,
but he's just one of those guys, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
And he knows.
Yeah, he's a great dude. He's just one of those guys. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man. So how did you get the name Harvester? I was gonna ask about that.
Every customer asks that. It's awesome, and some of them even can make the connection. had this customer who made me these like stickers, Metallica stickers for the window of the store, and they kind of make the connection from that and the logo, or one of the logos, but it's from a Metallica song. And in the early 2000s, Metallica was everything. I don't know, like metal was really cool back then,
right?
And like it's not cool anymore. At least I don't know. I don't see it being whatever. Anyway, but metal was really cool back then, and Metallica was such a big deal when I was in high school in the early 2000s. And it's from a song, a Metallica song, Harvester of Sorrow.
Oh wow!
But the name's kind of cool. Like everybody loves the name, and it works. And,
yeah, I really like it too, man.
It's like it's metal, and I mean I don't have any metal connections anymore, but it's a badass name, and yeah, it's cool. Like I used the little Metallica logo for a little bit, and
You're still doing shirts with that one, correct?
yeah, you know what, I always learned that you need to stick to one logo, and you need to brand yourself as one logo and not move away from that.
Right.
But like just from being like a kid, and like when Little Devil ripped off everything, like every logo, like I can't help but just keep doing other logos, and like I know it's wrong, and like I know I've learned and so many times I've learned from so many people that you need to keep things
uniform, right?
Yeah. But like it's too much fun to be 80s metal. I did the Stranger Things thing. What else? Like a lot of 80s logos, but yeah, like I just want to change. I want to change things up. You had the idea of the Harvey's logo. Yeah. I always wanted to do that, like just the Harvey's burgers, and
right.
But it's hard to stick to one logo.
Yeah, man, that's completely fair. Yeah. I really like the 80s thing that you're doing right now.
Because I love the 80s, and I love 80s BMX bikes. So
yeah, I see you work on a lot of old school bikes. What got you into that? Because you're doing a lot of old school bikes.
Actually, Alex and I got into it in like 2011. We moved downtown, and we found this old man near him that had these 80s bikes, and like they were sick. And mine was all spray painted, so it took me actually a while to find out what it was. It was like a Norco from the 80s. It had little peg things on it, and you had a Super Cycle Bobcat. And like we always loved the 80s, and like this is something to add even more to our 80s lifestyle.
Yeah, and when you get on one of those bikes, it's really like you're going back in time.
They're sick.
It's BMXing still. It's something you recognize, but at the same time, it's like you're feeling that old technology, and just like people would have felt back then.
Yeah, so like when do you see like guys rolling on 80s bikes? Like never.
Never, man. It's because they're all on the wall. They're all like pristine, and they're trying to make sure they don't get scratched.
So like I don't know when we lived downtown, but I kind of think we thought that we were living in the 80s or something.
Yeah.
Watched VHS movies as well.
Yeah. So that's what got me into it, is those bikes that we bought, and then I got a Hutch at the end of that summer. I bought a Hutch Windstyler off a kid, and so like that was it. I don't think before that I had like little 80s bikes and stuff, but I don't even know what happened to them. Did you have any?
Yeah, well that Hutch was a really cool one, because that was like the first high-end one that we got our hands on, and like the amount of heart that it went into making that was just like amazing. When the way that they had the crossbars and
sick.
Just the welds.
Some kid sold me this bike for $30, and like I think he regretted it after. But like there was no way I was gonna give this bike back to this kid. It was just like some little shitty kid, and like I thought I found gold.
Right.
Like, it was more of a lower end Hutch, but like the fact to find a Hutch that's like a really legit one. So I was like, holy fuck! It says Hutch on the back. I'm gonna restore this thing. I'm gonna clean it up. It's not a piece of shit from Canadian Tire. This is like a really good one.
Right.
And I just sold it about 2 years ago, and because I got a better conditioned one. The seat post was stuck, so we had to use crazy machinery to get the seat post out. It had been sitting outside for 30 years, and
oh my god,
was fused. But I found a better quality one, and I have a story about that bike too. And that's another thing with these old school bikes is I won't buy them from people. I'll seek them out so they have a story behind each one. Each one has to have a story. I'm not gonna pick up, hey, I'm selling this GT from 1987. You want to buy it? No. I want a story behind the bike. I want to tell my customers how I got this fucking bike.
That's such a cool thing to do, though, man. I think that's like, when you're buying used stuff, you're either just buying it from some fucking dude, or you're going to have, like, no matter what, it does have a story to it. And I think that when you can tell people about it, it's just that much cooler. That could be the reason why somebody actually goes out and buys that too.
Exactly. And now I'm like the 80s specialist. I have it written in my book here, but I supplied the bikes for the It movie.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. That was really fucking cool, man.
It's cool. So, I mean, there's not much to it. They searched the whole city for 80s bikes, and then they finally found me. So, yeah. So, yeah, the It movie, I don't know. There's not much to it. They seeked out, and then everywhere they turned, they couldn't find anything, and then they found me, and then I actually had a whole collection of like shitty department store BMXs.
Right.
I was hoarding them at that point. I don't know why. I guess they had plastic wheels or something. Mm-hmm. But I was lucky because now I try to keep my collection pretty thin because I kind of have this obsession, and there's too many of them. So if I find one easy, I'll hang on to it. But I had a couple there. I got lucky. Actually, the It thing, there is a story. I have stories about everything. So I supplied 3 of those bikes were from the 80s, and one of them was from the 90s. And I follow all the BMX museums, all the Facebook groups.
Right.
And a lot of guys they're all these BMX 80s nerds. And a lot of them were noticing that one of the bikes had a 1 1/8 stem.
Okay.
And they were all commenting before they knew that I supplied the bikes. They're like, oh, it's another Stranger Things. They're doing the same thing as Stranger Things. One of the bikes is from the 90s. It's not legit. It's not accurate to the time. And then there were guys like chiming in saying, oh, the guy from Harvester Bikes supplied them. And then people told me that these guys were talking about the movie and the bikes. So I came in there and I said, hey, I'm the one that supplied the bikes. I know that there was one GT in there that is from the 90s. I was short on bikes, and it kind of looks 80s. So,
yeah.
But just letting you guys know that I'm aware that bike is from the 90s. And then, like, I've heard from this, like, Facebook group and whatever, BMX Museum forums, that these guys are the biggest bike asshole snobs, and, like, nothing is if nothing's proper, then it doesn't work. But they all changed. They're like, oh, it's you. Oh, we love your videos. And,
that's awesome.
So that was good. I know it's from the 90s. I didn't have a 4th BMX, so I gave them a GT. So,
hey man, it worked, right?
Well, it worked, but except for these guys.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Stranger Things, the kids are riding 25.9, so Stranger Things season 3 needs to call me up and get me to supply the bikes, because there was no such thing as 25.9 in the 80s.
Do you remember when 25.9 became a thing?
In the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Actually, there was this, and I wanted to talk about this too later, about Canadian BMX. I'm South African, and I always called myself a South African, but just more and more, and I know everybody told me this, but now I'm starting to realize that I am Canadian, and that was always a thing for me, that I always told everybody I was South African because I'm born in South Africa. But there was this BMX company called Session, and I wanted to talk about them too. And they came out. I'm sure other companies did it too, but they really blew up in Canada because they were the first Canadian company to offer the 9-tooth cassette hub.
Right.
And this is probably like 2004. And, like, nobody had 25.9 yet. And then all of a sudden, like, just imagine everybody's riding, like, a freewheel. And then this, just like a free coaster, kind of. But imagine, like, it just comes. And, like, everybody wants a 9-tooth cassette hub. Like, why wouldn't you? So, but except everybody's, like, brakes are on the bottom of the frame. And then they start making them on the top because there's no clearance.
Right.
So the 9-tooth cassette hub came out, and that was super popular. And I was selling selling a few of them. I was probably getting out of. I had an account with them, so I was bringing in some, but it was like people wanted it. A lot of people couldn't run it because their brakes
would hit,
hitting
right?
the chain. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the Canadian scene and the Canadian brands, and yeah, I wanted to discuss that.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get it then.
Yeah. So this is a Ride BMX UK, which I know you.
Yeah.
From 2004, and this is how cool BMX was in Canada in the early 2000s. Like, I know, like, Instagram is everything now, and it ends there.
Right.
That's where it ends, and it's actually pretty sad because people don't know if it's Canadian, if it's from where. It's like
they just know that it's.
I know there was
Instagram.
like the Northern Embassy had a blog,
right?
But like, there's nothing to like, and like, it was everything was like so like hardcore and badass back then. So this is a section, a full page of a Canadian news section.
Oh wow!
And it just goes on and on and on about Canada, and like this is, and you could email this guy. It says something about a nutsack. Is his email, but like, and this is a story in itself too. But it says, by the way, a couple of issues ago, I wrote that Alliance is going to be distributing Tree products, and Tree was really big back then. And they were a small company, so they didn't even have any distributors or anything.
Right.
It says, actually, that was my mistake. Harvest Bike Shop, also of Southern Ontario, is going to be doing it. So, like, that was when I was first opened.
Right.
I was picking up all these little brands that were making it big. But, like, BMX was, like, such a hardcore thing that you could pick up all these cool brands that no distributor carried. And like Tree was really cool back then. I like brought this hoodie wherever it is, and like everybody owned the Tree hoodie, and they made a highlighter yellow one, and everybody had the OG Tree sprocket. And
I remember a couple of years ago too, people had the Tree sprocket, the 25.9 when it was just like 4 little things connecting, and there was a lot of people that just over time of using it, if they got I think it was the aluminum one. It would actually like start to bend a little bit, but I don't know. I never personally ran it. Yeah.
So I was too young. I was like 16 or 17 years old, and like they talked to me about distributing Tree in Canada, but like this is the whole story with my stores. I was always ahead of the trends, and I was so young, and like there was no way in hell I was gonna get a store. And there was no way in hell I was going to distribute a brand because I was 16 years old. And that's also talking about the distributors. I was too young to do anything. I just had a little bit of money, and I'm not going to open up a brick and mortar store when I'm 16 years old. I'm not going to do it. And like that was like, you had so much pressure on you when you're a kid. All these distributors are like, I'm going to cut you off. But like mail orders in the early 2000s, this is like 2004, 2005, the stores started to open and everybody started selling BMX. But in the early 2000s and the late 90s, it was all about mail order. And that's kind of what we grew up with. You didn't have to have a storefront. You just had to be legit. And
you had to have bikes, essentially, right?
Yeah. Well, I just sold parts.
Right.
But like I hustled so hard when I was a kid, and there was like a lot of pressure on you. Like, yeah, you need a storefront, but I'm 16. I got a grant from the government. They gave me $2,000 to start my business. I'm still in high school. I'm not going to get a storefront. So, I guess shut me down because I got nothing. So, that was kind of and that was also why I have like such a history, because I tried so hard with this business, but I was so young, and like there would always be conflict with the distributors.
Right.
So, the stores would be complaining. And yeah, I get it. Like, maybe you were selling stuff for too cheap because you had no overhead. But, like, how's a kid supposed to start their dream, you know?
Exactly.
If there's people, I don't know. I guess there's two sides to the story, but...
You've always been able to sell products really, really cheap. And I come to you a lot of the times for my bike stuff. Like, last year at the Oktoberfest jam that I ran, I actually bought a frame through you to give away. And again, you gave me a great deal on it. And I think
I'm looking for the deals. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm like a deal hunter. So if a distributor is selling something for a little bit cheaper on clearance, can sell it for a little bit cheaper. So, but definitely I stick to my MSRPs when it comes to new product.
Right.
It's just, I don't know, like, you know, older models and stuff, you can sell it for a little bit less. But yeah, definitely, like, I'm looking for the deals. So if something's cheap, pick up a bunch of them. And, you know, I'm really careful with colors. If something's a weird ass color, I'm not going to bring in too many of them because it's going to sit there for fucking the rest of eternity.
Right.
So, yeah, so I'm pretty smart with that stuff too. But I try to hook up some deals, but now I like to sell things at the price that they're supposed to be sold at. So, yeah.
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 How long did it take you to get a storefront, and like where did you begin and where did you start everything? This is really cool. I had no idea that you started when you were 16, man.
Yeah, so I was a video editor for 10 years. I went to film school, and I worked for people. I was filming, editing, all this shit. I hated everything that I did. Every job that I did, I hated it. I hated editing. I could not get nothing was interesting. Everything was boring. So I got fired from my last video editing job, and it was the best thing to ever happen to me because I hated my life because it sucked. And my mom pulled up this article in the newspaper, and it's about some French guy in Quebec that started an online store from his bicycle store. So,
oh wow!
And this is 2013. So that my mom's like, read this article. This guy had a bike shop, and he sold. I don't know if he sold it on eBay or on his e-commerce, but this kind of opened up my eyes to what I need to do again. I was totally out of it from like 2006 to 2013. There was nothing BMX related going on. I had some hookups with some distributors that still had my account, so I would order some SE bikes for myself, but I was like, fuck, I don't want to edit any more videos. I hate working for other people in that industry, and it's a shitty industry. And my mom's like, open up a shop, and my dad had a property, and I just moved in there, and it's like a weird location, but it works. It's surrounded by suburbs, and this helped me, and this kind of influenced me to open up an e-commerce. And that kind of was I knew that this was a thing now. Obviously, there's some other Canadian mail orders, but I was like, let's do an online store. Because obviously, I did that when I was a kid. I had an online store. I had a website. It had different sections, and you could go look at a list of what I could order. The kids would send me a check. I wouldn't even cash. I guess the cash would take a week to check. I'd order the product in, and I would ship out their product all over Canada. When I was a kid, I was 15, 16 years old, shipping all over stuff all over Alberta, BC. I actually had my own line of parts back then. I had titanium pegs, titanium bottom primo spindles, because I got a titanium hookup. I met some Asian guy at the bike show, and he had a titanium hookup. So I had Harvester titanium pegs when that was a thing.
Wow.
I had Thai Primo spindles. I had all these little no-name parts that I'd order from the distributor. I had a brake lever called the Lever 2000. I used the Lever 2000 logo. I got a big package in the mail from Unilever saying cease and desist the logo, or we're going to sue your ass. We thought that was the funniest thing when we were kids because, like, once again, we're 16 years old. Like, you know, to an average 16-year-old, this kind of stuff doesn't happen.
Right.
You don't get sued by Lever 2000. Yeah, and then another thing too so I'm 16 years old. I get a letter from the city of Vaughan saying, stop running a business out of your house because it's not allowed in our city. And like, I had just gotten a grant from the government. They gave me money to start a bike shop in my parents' basement. I'm confused because where am I supposed to run my bike shop? Like, I'm 16. Where am I supposed to run the bike shop? In my parents' basement. Why are you sending me this letter? So, like, I'm a kid. Like,
that's crazy.
what else am I supposed to do? So I remember working at my uncle's, like running the business and working at my uncle's and running the business at my uncle's too, and getting this letter, and like all the people at his work like laughing, like you're so funny, you're so smart, like you're dealing with the stuff when you're a kid. So it was pretty cool. And actually, I wrote this down too. Another funny story, we wanted to ride a swimming pool when we were kids, and it was filled with water, and that was when the whole West Nile thing happened.
Okay.
And everybody was scared that their kids were going to get bitten by mosquitoes and die. So I called the city, and I told them that my baby was going to get West Nile. Can you please empty the swimming pool? And they did. And then we rode the swimming pool.
What? Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. So,
dude, I've wanted to ride a swimming pool forever. I'm just going to take your route.
Yeah. So if you want to empty a pool, tell the city that your little baby's going to get West Nile. So
they have to drain it.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. Yeah. That is so good. Oh my God.
Yeah. And these are some old flyers. So it's a pretty legit brands back then if you want to check. S&M.
Oh wow, yeah, dude.
Demolition Volume.
Animal.
Yeah, Mutiny. I was getting direct. And yeah, like there's a company on there, Canuck Bike Products. They make plastic pegs, probably out of Winnipeg or something.
Oh wow.
Session was really cool. That guy was making frames, and like he was kind of his frames were trendy. He had this Shithawk, the Megatron. I think there was one called the Liger. It was like off Napoleon Dynamite.
Right.
So he was pretty cool. That guy. He knew what's up. And then this is the other thing about Canadian BMX. So this magazine has a whole section, and it tells you all this stuff that's happening in Canada. Like we don't have that shit anymore.
Yeah.
And this was the other thing, which was awesome. And like kids don't even know that this exists anymore. These are zines from back then, and all these guys were running these zines.
Wow.
And you could advertise in the zines for like $20 or something. I have Harvester ads in here. And like it was just this like little underground, like this guy covered the La Revolutions, which was another thing to talk about. That was like really, really badass. Like the sickest bike shows ever. And he would cover them, and you could advertise in here. If you're a young entrepreneur, you could pay a little bit and get your ad in here. Like this is like some sick shit.
Yeah, dude.
And these are all like, this is called Dialed, and I found the guy on Instagram like years later. And then this was some kids from Mississauga. So they, yeah, and then
that's really fucking cool, man.
Yeah, another Saga one, and yeah, it's sick. Like, what do they have now? Fucking Instagram. That's it. Like,
yeah.
How am I supposed to know? Like I don't know. It was cool. Like
that is, man. I think that times have really changed, and
yeah.
Even for Instagram, you're doing really well. I was checking your followers today just to kind of see like how you've progressed over the last couple of years, and you're close to 30,000 on Instagram.
I'm like losing. I was supposed to have a 30,000 contest.
Oh wow!
30,000 followers.
Yeah.
And it was for a frame, and then I was at 29,000, and then the winter came, and the followers just went down.
No!
But someone was telling me at the store that it could have been that Instagram was cleaning up all their fake accounts and stuff.
They do that quite a bit. So
I lost like 2,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I don't do the bot thing, just so you know. I'm a social media expert, and I'm very against paying for followers. But it's down to 27. But when the summer comes around and the Harvester custom start coming out,
through, yeah.
The following will get big again, because I have a lot of accounts that repost my jobs, my custom jobs, my 80s bikes. I just did a Rasta bike. Some people reposted that. So, yeah, so that was that's how the followers will come. So,
yeah, man, that was really...
Yeah. And there's a skate park near my house called Vaughan. Did you ever ride that park? Yeah? It was this in crazy skate light park behind this community center. It was like nothing you've ever seen before. There's nothing like it now. It was made out of skate light, and it was legit. And when I was a kid, like Jamie Delaney was there, and the McNeil team came there, and like I sucked. I was a shitty rider. But like just watching these guys ride, and like there was a scene there, and it was a really legit park. Like I wish that park was still around. It
Yeah.
had like some crazy 10-foot half pipe, and they'd have jams there, and so that was sick. I used to do a lot of hustling on those grounds.
For sure,
selling
man.
These T-shirts. This is the Hartford Whalers. It's kind of a weird Hartford Whalers, like it's flipped over.
Yeah.
So that's just like I like to knock off logos and yeah. Also, Hogtown was a big deal back in the early 2000s. I'm sure everybody came from everywhere to go to that store.
Yeah.
That actually, the Vaughn ramps that I just talked about are now at the owner's house in Halliburton. The guy who owned Hogtown, he died.
Oh, no.
But the ramps are up there, and the wife invited me to come ride the ramps, which would be crazy, super trippy.
Right.
But they're there.
I was gonna ask what happened to Hogtown because I haven't seen those guys in forever.
They had, I don't know. It's down like it's King and Spadina. Like the rent must have been retarded.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I know that the family had some issues, but that store was awesome, and everybody worked there. Like all these like OGs worked there, and we would show up as kids. Like once again, I sucked. I could do like some feeble grinds and shit, and maybe like a fakie.
Right.
But like we'd show up to Hogtown, and then the store would close, and whoever was working that day would take us around the city, like this guy Taro, this guy Byron, this guy Scotty. Like it didn't matter what I guess they were young too, but
Yeah.
they'd just take a pack of kids and they'd ride really fast, and you'd have to keep up with them, and they'd take you to spots, and like it was awesome.
That's sick,
like
man.
who does that anymore? I know I do it at the store sometimes, but like who's gonna take you to just ride around spots and shit? And so, but Hogtown was cool. They always had like really cool stuff, and that store was awesome. So we would hang out there for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had all kinds of different sports too.
Mm.
So
Right.
that made it more of like a community place.
Yeah,
almost.
the store was sick. It was so awesome. Yeah, and they had old school shit and skateboarding stuff, and yeah, and also another thing in the early 2000s that was really big. I'm sure it's still around, but we had the Outdoor Life Network, the TV station,
Right.
and they had the best shows on that. Like I know some kids would come home and watch Spider-Man and stuff, which I used to do, but I'd come home from high school and watch BMX TV shows on
Like props.
yeah they had the show called I remember later on they had that show Drop In,
Oh,
Right.
but like
I think I remember that.
before that show was cool, but they had BMX shows, and like sometimes they'd probably play like 2 in a night, and like they had the X Games and they had Gravity Games, and like what a good time to be a kid when there's video games, toys. You have a channel that plays extreme sports. What else?
and you don't even care because you just want to go ride outside anyway.
Yeah, like wintertime, like you can't ride, so just watch like BMX videos for free on TV. It was awesome. Like it's so different now to then. Like we had toys. Like I used to play with finger bikes and stuff. Like bring them to my class. Do kids still do that? I don't think so.
They bring flashbacks to school.
Yeah? Oh, they do. Okay. And Dave Mira Freestyle BMX. Like I played that for thousands of hours. I still play that game on my PSP. So
That game is really cool, though.
yeah,
Have you played the new game, BMX
I
Streets?
downloaded it and it's tough. And,
Yeah, it definitely is.
I don't have much time to play video games. I'm editing my YouTube videos, but I'll try to sit down and play it. It's tough. It looks hard.
Yeah, it is, man. It's pretty tough, but it's really good too. I think that's really cool that they're actually coming out with a game. It sucks they had to do it on their own. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
But
if a bigger company took it on, it'd be done a lot faster. But
like, why release a game that's not finished? I don't know.
I think a lot of like game companies are doing that now. One was like when No Man's Sky came out, they actually got sued because they released a game that wasn't finished yet and told everybody that it was finished. So everybody bought it, and they bought all this false advertising, and it just wasn't done yet. So
that it's good. I need to play more, but I want to like free roam and like go ride around the city and like grind the subways or like a bus or something.
Yeah. That's sick, man.
Yeah. So Road Fools was like also like everybody wanted to be like Van Homan or like Garrett Burns. Like they wanted to dress like them and they wanted to ride like them. And like also another thing why my store was so cool back then is I used to sell Schwinn product.
Right.
And Schwinn was like, it was such a big corporate brand then, but Van Homan was on Schwinn, and they stopped selling Schwinn in the U.S. because they went bankrupt. But my Canadian distributor still had all the Schwinn stock.
Okay.
And I kind of made a name for myself too, because I was a store that still had all the Schwinn inventory, and a lot of guys from the U.S. were buying Schwinn stuff from me because they couldn't get it in the U.S. anymore. So there was like sick chrome double wall Araya rims, like with the 4 sealed bearing hubs and the XS Kevlar seat and the XS tapered bearing cranks. And like you could not get the stuff in the US, and you could get it in Canada from this little store. And then I was even like a long time ago, I was reading forums, and like there were guys asking, what's that store in Canada that sells the Schwinn product? And then all these people would write, oh, it's Harvester. And then also forums was like such a big deal in the early 2000s, and that's something we're missing too now. The kids don't use Facebook anymore.
Yeah, not
like,
really.
Even a couple years ago, we used to use Facebook and go on like the Ontario BMX.
Yeah.
Now I post a YouTube video on Ontario BMX. I get like 0 likes, and nobody comments on it. Nobody's using it anymore.
Facebook's kind of dead at this time. Like I used to use it all the time for when I was doing jams, because the event thing is so good on it. Like you can just invite everybody you have on there, people that you don't have, and people can just. It was always really good at like building on the hype for that. But now I've found that
it's dead.
It's dead. Like I gotta figure out how to do it through Instagram, and Instagram's good and all, but you don't have that security of how many people are actually gonna show up.
And you need to keep promoting and promoting and promoting. With
every
the
day.
Facebook thing, the event would just keep the events coming up on the side. The events coming up. And then someone would post something in the Facebook event, and it would show the post. Oh, I'm so excited for the jam, or this prize is going to be at the jam. But like with Instagram, you have to keep.
You got to keep hyping it. You got to keep it in people's heads.
It's kind of annoying for people. People find that annoying. So, but forums, everybody used forums when they were kids. You bike guy?
Yeah.
Everybody. BMX board, I got tired of. The people were dicks on there. I actually gave a kid my account. But I went into Bike Guide, and that was like a whole lifestyle. We met kids from Bike Guide. We met them at skate parks. We watched Charlie Crumlish like grow up on Bike Guide. Like he would post like these like crazy Ghibli videos of him riding chainless in front of like a church or something.
Right.
And like everybody like saw this little kid that wore a helmet and a hat, and like we watched all his YouTube videos, and they were so entertaining because he had such a crazy style.
Yeah.
And like then kids would take their chain off because of him. There was another video too, that video where the guy took his chain off.
Oh yeah.
That guy Liam, whatever. And then kids would take their chain off, and then our whole city would be riding chainless.
Oh man.
And it was awesome because nobody could afford a free coaster. So 2006, every kid's riding no chain, kicking around, and like that was forums were just they changed kids' riding styles, and kids would kids would start putting little sparkly stars on the front of their bike. That was a thing. You'd go to the dollar store and put like little sparkly stickers, and it was like a little emo thing. And then, do you remember that?
Yeah.
And like
I used to ride chainless a lot.
Yeah.
Myself, yeah.
Yeah.
Back when I had a 43 tooth sprocket, trying to learn to feeble on the ledge.
Yeah.
Walk my bike home every time.
Other trends, kids would like take their seat off, and like they'd ride this little piece of plastic bullshit. Like these trends.
Oh, I fucking remember that. They'd have like zip tied to the frame. Yeah. Oh man.
And they'd cut their axles down, and they would metal barns, and this is all from BMX forums. These trends all came not from pros, but from our forums. They saw everybody copied everybody, and like kids would start trends, and like Bike Guide was the best. I would ship stuff to kids in middle of nowhere in the States.
Right.
They would ship me stuff, and we would go to we'd go to skate parks, and we'd be like, hey, your username is there was this one kid named Molten Bikes it was a Pokemon name or something. And he was known as that name from his Bike Guide name. So I was Harvester, everybody knew me as that. it was awesome. I used to actually, another thing, I advertised on BMX Bike Guide. I paid for ads, banners.
Oh, wow.
Like, what, this day and age, like you're a young kid starting a BMX brand or something, how are you going to advertise? Like,
you can't. It's like literally Instagram.
Yeah, you're going to sponsor kids and make them wear your t-shirt or something.
Yeah.
But like, where are you going to pay for, I guess you can pay for an Instagram ad.
You can pay for Instagram ads and Facebook ads, but those are seriously just fucking annoying anyways. I feel like that's why people are... But is it going to
reach you? Is that ad...
Yeah.
Like with Bike Guide, the ad's going to reach you 100% because it's there and it's in your face. But like, and what if, I don't know, like we had so many outlets back then to advertise things, zines, forums. What do they do now? What do they do?
Right.
So.
Plus back then, you know, like Bike Guide was one of the few places you could actually get information about, you know, how to fix your bike and how to do things and like what's actually happening.
Yeah, kids have problems, they post, what do I do with this? And another thing with Bike Guide, which was sick, there was a section called bike checks. Yeah. And kids would take a picture of their bike, they'd go low. I still do this at the store. All my photos on my Instagram page are because of Bike Guide. There was a way that you position your cranks. Your right crank came forward, your left crank came back. The sprocket, you always took the photo on the sprocket side.
Right.
You went down low. It had to sit perfectly against the wall. Then in the Bike Guide, the bike check section, you'd put a list of all your parts. And then all the kids would comment, I love your bike. Your bike sucks. I fucking hate your bike.
Yeah.
So,
man, there's kids that do that now for like trying to sell their bike, but they don't post any of the parts. They just take a shitty photo of it. You can't see. The frame is. They're just like custom BMX for sale, $250. Like probably shit. But then you see custom BMX for sale, $1,000. What's up with it? Like, what is it?
We took such pride in our bikes back then, and we loved the internet and like conversing on the internet.
Right.
It's too bad. It sucks.
And I think, you know, the bike checks are really the way people started painting their bikes.
Yeah.
Before that, people wouldn't really change the color that much. But then you'd see such, you know,
if a kid
cool
really
color schemes that people thought of.
The fade or something, then another kid would copy him.
Yeah, or to paint your forks matching your frame and your bars. Like, they never came like that.
Yeah, that's for sure, man.
I remember Kink made a frame called the Jailbird, and it looked like an old cop car. It was black rear end, white front, and black head tube.
Oh, nice.
That's what happened next. Every kid on Bike Guide posted their spray painted Jailbirds that they homemade.
Oh, wow.
So, like, trends would pop up, and then every kid would do them. It was awesome. It was really cool.
And now the trend is just to throw your bike on the ground, get a gold fucking paint, and just do the whole thing. Don't even take the tires off or anything. Hashtag gold gang, right?
Yeah. So it was awesome. Back then, fuck, it was good being a kid back then. It was different. It was fun. Yeah. Yeah.
I find that a lot of those trends are still around too, and the way that they build is exactly like you said. It's from people, not pros. Like, you know, the pros will have a certain bike and everything, but I find a lot of the times the trends that actually goes on with the bikes, the tennis balls and the wheels, all that shit is all from other people doing it, and it's pretty crazy.
High Seas, Montana Ricky. He actually called me, or I called him. He told me to call him 3 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
When does an famous Instagrammer ever tell you call me, and we talked for an hour about
that's sick
about mid-school BMX. It was, do you know who Montana Ricky is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool. I know that this guy's down to earth from the beginning before I even met him, just from his post. But how sick is that? He called me. He told me that he supplies bikes to all these OGs like Rat Boy. Rat Boy is I guess he's having some trouble with drugs and stuff. So a lot of them, he sends them parts just to try to get them back into BMX.
Yeah. How
cool is that?
That's fucking sick.
He's I loved this pro when I was a kid. He doesn't ride anymore. I'm gonna send him a bunch of shit, and maybe he'll start to ride. And that's such a good a good heart.
That's so cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And he actually, if you don't know, he runs the Instagram page Y2K BMX.
Yeah.
He runs that page.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really cool guy.
Yeah, he's always got really cool posts. I like him. He's
motivational posts and making fun of scooters.
Yeah, shit like that. I hear BMX Taxi came out the other day and was getting pretty pissed about scooters.
Yeah, he does not like scooters.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday with Ozzy.
And Travis also that when he was lighting the scooter on fire.
Oh my God, it's awesome.
Video, it was so funny. to hear them, like their hatred for scooters, to hear that is awesome.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining to hear these guys how mad they are about scooters. I love it. Keep talking about how much you hate scooters.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever caught any flack for crop circle scooters or anything like that? Do you still do that, or?
I did it from day one, and like it's just like a fun little thing on the side. It's just so that the two brands aren't related.
And man, you keep them separate really well.
Yeah.
I think not a lot of people know that you do that.
I'm a BMXer.
Yeah.
I want that to be its own thing. It's nothing really. It's just this little fun other thing, and I don't really spend that much time on it. I'd like to, but I like have so much passion for BMX that I put 100% focus into my YouTube channel.
Right.
And I've gotten so much good feedback from my YouTube channel that it's motivated me so much to keep putting out videos as much as possible. I try to put out a video a night. So
you do a really good job with it, man. I see that you post all the time.
Yeah, and it's just from my background. I was a video editor. Now I finally found something that I love, and I can make videos. I love making BMX videos, so no matter what they are. So
are you monetized on YouTube at all?
Of course.
Yeah,
I get a good paycheck every month.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome, man. You post quite a bit, and I find that your content doesn't drag on either. It's always like under 10 minutes.
I try to make it quick. And that was another thing too. I always put out these harvestoes, which I love. That's another thing I have so much fun with.
Yeah.
And like all these kids always would say like it was too short, it was too long, it needed music, it didn't need music. Like I get it, like you're being a critic from the outside, but like
to you it doesn't matter. You're gonna do what you want to do.
Well, like I just trying to get this video done and like make it entertaining.
Right.
And it's so hard to find music, like royalty music. It's so hard to find royalty music. So it's always good to get flack from videos, but like music, I could spend like over an hour trying to find a fucking track for my music, and I struggle with finding royalty music. I'm sure you do too.
I have a buddy that actually he helps me out quite a bit. So a lot of the music for Space Goats is actually produced by my friend Gatefold, who's going to be on the show in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, cool. He's doing the intro for the podcast as well, and he's actually devoted an entire track just to Space Goats. So it's the Space Goats exclusive track.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I'll send you the link because he's posted that one. So you might like it actually. I'm not too sure.
Well, that's another thing is I seem to always really like this like synthesizer music that I put in my videos, and a lot of people don't like it, but like I've always liked this type of music, and so
it goes really well with what you have going with Harvester Bikes. Yeah. So I'd say keep doing it, man.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it.
Alrighty, and we were back. Now, what were we talking about? That was like music. A quick 5-minute break. Yeah, music and BMX. So has there been any music that you've gotten into strictly just from finding it in videos? Like any bands that have become really good?
We went to Austin, and like we went to South by Southwest, and I went twice to South by Southwest, and it's a big music festival in Austin.
Right.
But like just think of, you're going to Austin for everything in your life that you love. You're going to Austin to see all the bands that you like. And you're also going to Austin to ride all those skate parks that you see all the pros riding. Yeah. Plus, you get to go to the T1 ramps and hang out with Joe, Rich, and Ruben. And, so I went to Austin. We probably saw a bunch of bands. BMX-wise, like Mogwai is amazing. They're total BMX. They even have a song called, like, Superheroes of BMX. Lucero. Like, we listened to that song when we were kids, like, so much. And when I saw them live, the guitarist was wearing, like, a Shit Luck t-shirt. And, we were just talking about, like, the emo era. Like, it went so hand in hand, like, skaters and BMXers and that music. And we dressed that way. And, I mean, I don't think I dressed as crazy, but, like, you know, we had the skinny jeans and the hoodies and...
Yeah, we started with the skinny jeans because they wouldn't get caught in the big sprocket.
Man, I'm a huge fan of the skinny jeans. Don't worry, I still got them.
Well, now I'm wearing baggy pants, but because I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
But definitely like every props had like the sickest hardcore music in it.
Yeah.
And we listen to that shit because I listen to Thursday now, and like it just makes me really happy because I think of BMX, I think of like that time. I mean the music it was all right, but like that would be considered like that. Everybody listened to Thursday because of BMX,
right?
Because of Turbulence, and they were in like other BMX videos, and anything from Road Fools. Like there was this like really like indie band called Sleater and Kinney, and like that was I know that from Road Fools, and like everything, all these bands. I can't really. I'm sure there were many of them. Even like I was into like electro music in like 2006, and then all these like props videos started to get a little bit electronic,
right?
And then we started listening to like all these electronic groups, and Stefan always was on top of that stuff. And
yeah, the music was just so important to convey like the emotion of the actual writing stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was just such an important part of it. And you know, personally, I found my favorite artist from a bike video.
Therefore I Am?
No, Animal Can I Eat? Big L.
Big
nice.
L. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was those, and the animal videos too influenced us so much.
They do.
Yeah, the music. Well, they influenced everybody, so that's not even a discussion. Like everybody took their brakes off because of Edwin. Everybody bought Zoo York because of Edwin. So
I have like the weirdest thing. I absolutely love Animal. I think that they're such an underrated company, though. Like so many people, they know who Animal are, but they don't want to support. You know what I mean?
it's because things got so trendy. Like Odyssey got so trendy.
Yeah.
And like so innovative, and Animal like just they're cool, but like now Animal has a lifetime warranty fork that just came out, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But everybody wants the Odyssey fork. Everybody wants the G Sport rims. Animal, Edwin is old news. Nigel's, like the kids don't really know Nigel that well. Stephen Hamilton.
Yeah. Anybody that knows Nigel, they just make fun of him because of Rodeo Peanut. Like, don't get me wrong, he is kind of cringeworthy sometimes, but he's a good fucking rider, man.
Sure.
He's a lot better than all the people that are making fun of him. But
for sure, yeah. But like, Odyssey has all the new pros and everything, and like, they're keeping up where Animal's staying more hardcore and like
mid school, right?
Yeah, I mean, even like that Colin Vaniak is amazing, or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
but
he's
like,
really
he's
fucking
still
nuts.
kind of underrated.
Yeah.
So if they had Garrett Reynolds on their team, maybe it'd be a different story. But like, they're still, they're core, so they're New York, so
yeah, that's for sure.
They're still keeping it small. So
one of the first BMX videos I ever watched was it was like an 8-minute video on YouTube of the Animal BMX team. I think it was like Animal Road Trip or something.
Yeah.
And it just had this cool, it was like literally just beats from like rap music that a person had made. And it was just so fucking sick.
And they were all brakeless.
All brakeless. They were riding all of these like legendary spots like Brooklyn Banks, everything. And then they were riding, there's this tennis court, or it's a basketball court, but it has banks with these ledges in between it. That spot looks amazing.
It's in, like, Philly, that spot.
Yeah. Like right in that area. That's in there. But yeah, all those dudes.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, traveling too is just like music is an influence. Traveling is an influence too.
Yeah.
You could go to Barcelona. You could go to New York, to the Brooklyn Banks in the late 2000s. You can go to Miami. It's sick there. Where else? You can go to California now if you want to go check out the OSS store. Where else? Like, I met guys from Portugal. They have a scene there. I went to Nashville last year.
Right.
Corey Martinez and Nathan Williams, they're from there. You can kind of relate like where you're going to, what pros are from there, and if they have a scene. And so traveling too is just like music. So at least it is for me. So
yeah, there's a old video on YouTube somewhere of, I think it was the Primo team coming to Kitchener.
Yeah, I love that video.
Yeah, and Nathan Williams does an overpegs grind on this square rail that has a pole at the bottom. And nobody, like, it's just such a, like, it's the last clip, but I don't think anybody really looks at it. I've been to that stair set, and it's a 17 stair set. I gapped it on a frame that had a crack halfway through the top tube because I just got there and I was like, fuck, man, like, I don't know why. There's something that's telling me to do this. And that was in my fuck asses part, but I would never do that again. Like, now that I look at it, it's a fucking big stair set, man. Anybody that I take there, even Spencer Ryan was like, it's a big fucking set, dude. Like, you don't fuck around with this.
Yeah, that video is really good there.
Yeah.
People still talk about it. All the Kitchener guys still talk about that video.
It's so good. There's a really cool gap to rail that he does too. That's like gap to rail over pegs. And I drive by this spot all the time and nobody in my crew will even think about it. And I got some pretty good people on my crew. I don't want to brag, but fuck, man, like, we have really killed Kitchener. Like, for the next year, we can't film anything in Kitchener because it's already been done. Like, the first thing we started filming this year, I was filming with Kyle Mantha, who has a full part. We're filming front flips the first day of filming this year. Like, what the fuck? Street front flips?
It's awesome.
Yeah. It was awesome.
That's cool. Well, nobody's done that, so just front flip everything everywhere to that spot.
Dude, that's literally his plan. He's so stoked on them. He's got like 3 in mind for his part.
Sounds dangerous.
It definitely is. I'm really scared, man. I'm like, you're not doing this unless we have multiple people so that I can still be behind the camera and they can help you out. Like,
awesome.
It'd be fucking crazy, that's for sure.
That's cool. He should front flip to double peg.
That would be fucked. We did find this spot, and I was telling the guys yesterday about it, but it's essentially like a light post that's been tipped onto its side. It's just a big wooden one, and there's a drop off of it into a grass hill. It's only like a 3-foot drop, but he's going to go up it to fronty, and I'm like, that's so fucked, man.
That's sick.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. If it happens, I'll be really stoked.
That's
if
awesome.
not, then...
Banger part, front flip master, banger part.
Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was always talking about the Zach Gerber clip over the 2 like roofs or whatever. That was fucked.
That guy's crazy. He's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's another guy like
underrated.
How underrated
man.
Is that guy? Holy shit!
Underrated.
But he probably wants to stay underrated.
Yeah, he probably does, man. There's some people that are just like, in my opinion, super overrated for really what they are. One in particular would be Adam LZ. That's just my personal opinion. A ton of people love him. You actually had him at your store. What was that like?
Yeah, it was funny. The story, I always tell everybody the story. So when I first opened, I brought in On Some Shit clothing just for fun. I don't like to sell a lot of clothes, but I also like to stay fresh and bring in cool brands just to show that the store is really cool. So I brought in a bunch of OSS stuff. There was the bear smoking the bong. And then I brought in Peep Game stuff. And he had a little run there where all the pros were wearing his shit. And then I wanted to bring in LZ stuff because that was the time when LZ was
really big, right?
Really huge. Every kid was coming to the store. You watch Adam LZ, and then I'm like, I was thinking about bringing in his clothes, but like I never really committed to it. And then the LZ thing got out of hand, and I messaged him, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to bring in a little bit of LZ. And he's like, all right, I'll just deliver it to you. And I'm like, I emailed him back. I'm like, huh? And he's like, I'll just deliver it to you. I'm like, what does that mean? Yeah. And he's like, I'm coming to ride Joyride next week. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's sick. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'll just come meet you at Joyride. And he's like, no. He's like, we'll come to the store. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. So he came and did a little meet and greet. He took a while. Took like kids were waiting there and they had to go home and come back because he was having so much fun at Joyride, which is totally understandable. And then he came and it was like a little intimate environment. There were like probably 10 kids there, and they got to hang out. We hung out for like 2 hours. Right. And Nicole was there, and they were signing autographs, and Ozzy was there. He was making them laugh. And that was funny too, Ozzy and Adam LZ,
man, I could only fucking imagine. Just so mid-school, old-school guy.
Yeah, it was.
Who the fuck is this guy?
He handled it so well though, and like Adam, I think he was a little bit shy, but then he like opened up, and it was awesome. And that, like, I know Adam LZ's not such a big deal anymore. Yeah. But at that time,
he was huge.
Kids would come to the store and they would ask about Adam LZ, and I would say he was at the store, and they go, what? He was in the store. Wow, like that. I was standing here where Adam LZ was standing, and it was really like it was cool. Like he's not a big deal. And then actually he texted me. He came back to Joyride a couple months later, and that's when they had the huge
jam,
lineups
right?
outside, the big lineups. And he had texted me that night because I went to go meet him and get some more product because I had sold a lot of his product. It did really well. And he had texted me, is there anywhere good to go out on New Year's? And I told him, you have to go to the Dance Cave. And that's where we always went, and we had a lot of fun there. And he went, and the lineup was crazy there, and I guess he didn't go in. And a couple kids, because a couple kids didn't have, they were under 18, they were 18 years old or something.
Yeah.
So like, I guess he didn't even care because some of the kids were probably not even going to get in anyway because they went with their whole crew.
Yeah.
But it was a disappointing night. So, but I thought he would, like, everybody has fun there. It's like no holds barred inside there. So
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will say is that I think everybody that does YouTube and you yourself has one video that's done really, really well. Do you have any, like, what's your one video that's done super well?
There's like a really random one, and it's this, it's so random. It's like some 90s Canadian Tire bike. Some kid brought it in, and I have a tripod with a camera in the store at all times.
Right. Just
to pull it out to film. And my mechanic, Alex, we filmed putting like aqua blue parts on this like 90s supercycle. It has like 225,000 views.
Oh, wow.
The video. And then I had this video in 2008. I filmed this. I had this stupid point and shoot coming back from a club, and I filmed this fight on our drunk bus, which I was talking about earlier. And I've never seen the bus so filled up in my life. And I took that bus a lot because I partied a lot. And I took that bus with friends, and it was packed to shit. And I've never seen it so packed in my life. It was a weird night. All of a sudden, you know, on the bus there's an upper level.
Yeah.
So there's this guy on the upper level, and he's with his girlfriend, and he's kind of protecting her. And then on the lower level of the bus is 3 skinheads.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm just saying they're skinheads because they had bald heads and they looked like real pieces of dirt. And this guy on the upper level was the good guy in the situation,
right,
protecting his girlfriend. It looks like he was coming back from a club. I don't know the story. Something with the girlfriend and these 3 hound dogs. And he just started smashing their heads in like this guy on the upper level. He had the advantage because he was higher up.
Oh, my God.
He was smashing all 3 of their heads in. And like, there was some part in the video, sunglasses are flying at my friend, and my friend grabs the sunglasses, and he's like, they're mine. And my friends start fighting over this pair of sunglasses, who's going to keep them. And then the bus is still going while this whole thing is happening, which is another amazing thing about this whole scenario.
Gotta make that schedule, dude.
It was at Yonge and Queen and Yonge, and then the bus made its way all the way to Yonge and Bloor, going while there's this brawl happening.
Oh my God.
And the bus didn't stop. And I remember this is 2008, so I got my point and shoot. Oh, and my one friend, I'm friends with this one guy who's like, he's a little bit of a scaredy cat, and he's like, man, put the camera down, they're gonna see you. And I'm like, no man, I went to school for this shit, I'm gonna film this. And then you see in the video there's another guy on the very other end of the bus, and he's got the stupid razor or something.
Oh, nice.
And so then that video, they stopped the bus, and the cops came at Bloor, and the shitty people got out of the car, and the guy stayed on the car. And then I had that video, and then I called City Pulse, City TV, whatever.
Right.
And I asked them if they'd like to purchase this crazy video that I have. And they said, you could upload it to our website if you want. And then they like hung up on me, and I'm like, I'm not going to upload this video.
You can fucking buy that shit.
Yeah. So I put it on my BMX channel, which has been going since 2006. And I went to Florida with my parents, to Miami. And I didn't have internet at my grandmother's house, but there was this like Spanish like learning center next door. And they had Wi-Fi, so my brother and I would pop in there from time to time and use their Wi-Fi. This is 2008, so I think it's still, Wi-Fi is kind of like a thing that you have to appreciate.
Right.
So we connected to the internet, and I got all these emails and Facebook messages that my my videos playing all over City Pulse. They put my video on some kid's DV camera, loaded it back onto a tape, and then the kid was walking. It was like some like little kid, like high school kid, walking around the city. It was weird too. Like, I don't know what the deal was with this. And then they were filming this kid this everybody around the city what they thought of the video. And I'm like, what the hell? Why is this kid have my video on his DV camera?
What the fuck?
Then it was playing every half an hour on City Pulse. I think City Pulse repeats itself.
Right.
And then I started getting emails from all these newspapers to my email account because my YouTube channel was connected to it.
Right.
So even though this kid was fronting, I still was the owner of the video.
Right.
So then the Star, the Sun, the Post, these are all the Toronto newspapers.
Right.
They all asked to do interviews with me. I did interviews with all of them. And then I went on MTV Live for the,
oh, wow.
for the video,
yeah,
which was funny. And I back then I was pretty shy in front of the camera, so it was kind of awkward. Now I'm a little bit better because of the YouTube videos. But I did the MTV thing, and then this video had crazy amount of views. It had like 550,000 views, and it went fucking out of hand. So
that's crazy, man.
Yeah. So that was good. So well, now we have cell phones. Film everything. If people are gonna tell you not to film shit, film it anyway. I had a guy walking down the street in the middle of the day, and I live in a nice neighborhood. This guy's like walking around wasted off his face in the middle of the day. Film him. I don't know. Like,
you got to.
Or maybe don't film him, because some people think that that's mean if you film them like they're having a bad day or whatever. But like, I came from the early 2000s where we watched Jackass and CKY, and like, we want to see funny shit happen. And like, in front of my store one day, actually Carter was at the store.
Yeah.
And we saw this wasted guy. Like, we have a strip club nearby, so I don't know. Probably not, because it's the day. Like,
buddy, there's people that go in there during the day.
But I don't even know if they're open during the day. Anyway, this like wasted guy was like, it took him forever to get like from like even 4 steps. He was just all over the place. And we're just watching this guy laughing our asses off. And yeah, so if you see some funny shit,
just
film it and then put it on YouTube, and maybe you'll get YouTube famous from it. So
you could.
Yeah. And that's another thing that whole scenario kind of influenced me so much with YouTube, and saw there was so much potential with YouTube that you just got to work really hard, and maybe you'll get lucky.
Right.
Like, all these people say, like, I have no subscribers and I have no followers, and like, I thought about that for a long time too, but like, just fucking pull your camera out and film drunk people, film fights, film
everything.
Film animals like climbing up a tree and then keep falling, and drunk squirrels, and like
dude,
anything.
The internet is honestly a place where you can find anything, and it's like, it's just from people. Yeah. Like, if that person did it and they have so many subscribers now, fucking do that, man. Yeah. Figure it out. Yeah. Figure out what you can do.
Yeah, if you don't have any subscribers, film weird things. Maybe you'll make it. So, yeah.
Or just cheap out and film, yourself for 20 minutes and post it every day. But
what about remember bum fights? The guy, he'd come out with DVDs of him. He'd pay bums. They'd fight each other. And
my God.
And like, people it was funny, but like, that was a big problem. Like, they shut him down and all that stuff. But like, that was kind of genius. And then like Bang Bus and everything, that was kind of funny. Like, just do crazy shit. I don't know. Like,
that's what you gotta do, man.
Yeah. Actually, another funny story. I went on a trip to Israel, a free trip to Israel.
Right.
And we had this girl on our trip, and she was like really quiet, and like, we traveled with soldiers. There's soldiers in Israel, and I guess her and the soldier kind of like started to chat and stuff. Did I ever tell you the story? And she was quiet, whatever. Maybe they like kissed or something. So then I got off my trip. I went back home, and this is 2005. I didn't even have a cell phone back then. There was like the class clown or whatever of my trip.
Right.
He calls my house at 1 a.m, my home phone. My parents are sleeping. He calls the phone, and he's he's like, I pick up. I'm like, I got to pick up because I don't want my parents to wake up. I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, go on the internet, go on MSN right now, accept this file. So I'm like, okay, I have dial-up internet.
Right.
So I accept the file on MSN. I haven't even spoken to this guy since my trip. I accept the file, and then I'm like, I got to call you back in about 40 minutes because this 10 megabyte file has to download. So he's like, okay, call me back when the file downloads, but don't open the file. Call me. So wait, whatever, fixing bikes. I always hung out in the basement.
Yeah.
Fix bikes and shit. The file finally downloads, and I get back on the computer, and I call him, and I'm like, okay, open it. So I open it. It's this full out like beach bang bus porno, and like some guys on the beach like picked her up on the beach and brought her back to their place, and like I guess they must have paid her some money and all this stuff. So yeah, that's
Dude, it's so good. We were here yesterday with Ozzy and Lando, and we went into like a 15-minute like rant about internet porn and 80s porno mags, as you do, right?
My brother had this like 80s porn, and it was on a VHS, and like he always, I guess, gave me his like his leftovers. So I had this tape from like back in the day. Like even Ron Jeremy was in it. It was like, it was shitty. It was nasty. It was like, and like I had it in my VHS player one time, and my friends came over, and they're like, I don't know if my friend hit the VHS player or something, and the tape player pressed play, and this video started playing, and they're like, for like years after, they're like, you watch fucking 80s porn, you watch 80s porn. So
that's how you came up with the 80s bikes, right? That's what you do. You're living in the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm sure we all have really good porn stories.
We definitely all do. Oh, man. Alrighty, so stepping away from that. Oh, dude. So you got any other old stuff here?
So I first started riding with this kid, Jordan, who lives in Kitchener actually. And so we kind of got into BMX together, and then he kind of got out of it. And then I met some kids from high school, whatever, like some random kids. And then I met this guy, Jacob, and he introduced me to this kid, Stefan. And then I rode this guy, Stefan, who now lives in Australia. I rode with this guy forever. And like he was always a little bit of a dick, so he pushed us so hard to ride. I'm sure he did the same thing with you. He was always making fun of us, and like, you know, he was like, and it like helped us. Like we did stuff we didn't want to do,
right?
And like we're better riders because of that. At least I think so. So this guy rode with him forever, and then we started a little scene, and we had all our friends, and we rode all the time. We went to skate parks and stuff. We filmed little street edits, and so we had a little crew. And then one of the, like this guy Nariman, who I ride with, he's part of the crew. And there was this kid named Max, and some other ones, whatever. And then now I started riding with Stefan again, and he moved to Australia now, but he also, like always, like it was really fun riding with him.
Right.
And then Ozzy's always really fun riding with. And there's like a couple other friends, you know, that come and go riding, but it's like definitely like the reason that I've always stayed with biking is because I've always had friends that rode. And like even if like we pushed each other to ride, if I didn't have that, I'd still be riding, but like, you know, you'd have to like hustle a little bit harder to find some friends.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's always good to have a BMX scene.
Well, that's kind of why you started the shop in the first place, just because everyone wanted parts and was always asking you about parts. So it was really to hook everyone else up. Yeah, and like I just have really fun time ordering parts from distributors, and it's always fun getting a package at the store. To this day, even though I know what I ordered, and even if it's kind of like I've gotten that product in before, it's always fun getting new stuff, new boxes coming to the store,
And I also do some unboxing sometimes when a new colorway comes out, like those Merit teal tires. I did a unboxing of my distributor's box. The teal tires, I'm the first store in Canada to get them. This is this tire and this about it, and so on. So
I always find with unboxing videos, the people that are unboxing them typically don't have very much knowledge of the product, but I find that's different for you. You always know exactly what you're looking at. You know exactly what to say about it.
I still don't actually understand what the hype is with unboxings. I come from the video background, so the thing from day one, I had a few of them. One of them was to unbox product from day one. It wasn't day two, it was day one. We even unboxed your We the People, did we? Or something?
Yeah.
We like from day one. So but I still do not understand why people watch unboxings. Like, why do I want to watch an iPhone or Samsung Nexus 20 get unboxed?
Yeah, right.
Like, I'd rather a video of a guy talking about the features of it. Why do I care of him opening the box? But I guess I shouldn't say anything because the unboxings are working really well for me. So,
hey man, it works, right? There's some things in life that just don't make sense on how it's just so popular, but it works, I guess.
Like crazy amount of views.
Yeah.
And like
the one thing I just can't understand is vlogs, man. I can't wrap my head around it. I actually thought about doing like fuck ass vlogs for a little while.
It would be sick.
Would be sick, but then I don't have any good content for my DVDs, and that's the thing.
That's true.
I put so much work into those, and I try and make it so that when you buy it, it's actually something you're getting that's fucking had a lot of work into it.
So for me, with the vlogs, is I cherish my day off so much riding with my friends. That is such a big deal for me to be riding on a Monday in a t-shirt in the sun with a beer with my best friends, doing tricks and being motivated by the people who I want to ride with no pressure. Like, I take a long time to land a trick.
Right.
And to be with my good friends, to be comfortable, that's why I do those videos. I mean, it's good for the store too. And they don't get that many views, but I just do them for myself. But like, they're really like being out in the sun with your friends. Why not document it? If someone wants to hold on to a trick that's a real banger and they want to hold it for something, and it's not a problem for them
of course.
To put it in a video and not put it in the HVXgoat, obviously. But it's more that I get to remember that day and that memory. And like, there's nothing better for me than riding in a t-shirt in the sun. I absolutely love the heat and being on my bike. So
that's completely fair. I really like yours because they're short. Whereas I find there's people that literally do vlogs that don't ride BMX, they don't skate.
They don't do a lot of editing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cut mine to so you don't get bored.
Yeah.
Or at least you hopefully won't get bored.
That's fair. Yours are pretty short, so it's kind of hard to get bored of that. And I think that if people are getting bored, it's because they're just on Instagram too much. They can just watch something for 30 seconds and then scroll past it and see something else. And I think that our society has just gotten so used to this feeling that they don't need to be patient anymore. It's right there in front of them.
But I feel like the vlog thing is now passing, and now it's the podcast thing.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that too, man. I've seen a lot of podcasts starting up, and I've had the idea to do mine for about a year now.
Yeah.
And I've always really liked them too. Like, I've been listening to a lot of different ones lately just to kind of learn about what I should be doing, and they're really interesting. I like them. I think that it's perfectly fine to have those rather than a vlog because you're actually talking to different people, and most times it's different people each week. Like, I'm trying my hardest to make sure that I have a new guest every week for somebody.
Driving and listening to a podcast is the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's completely possible too. You can't watch a vlog and drive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when this is done, it's hopefully going to be on YouTube with video, SoundCloud, and Spotify with just the audio. So
what about podcasts, like iPhone podcasts?
Yeah, maybe. If I can figure that out, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, driving, 1 hour drive, it's the best.
Yeah, man.
And then
time travel.
It's awesome. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Let's see. And I want to. Did I talk about the Harvester ramp?
I actually really wanted to ask you about that. So for anybody that doesn't know, Harvester actually had ramps in the back of his shop at one point. I'm not going to say where the ramps went, It's in a really, really cool spot, and I got to ride them in the middle of the winter, and they're outside. So it was really cool hitting those up. What happened with those? How come they're not in the shop anymore?
Did you ever ride the ones outside?
Yeah, I think one time.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're really cool, man.
So I had the space in the warehouse, and the store was still small. When I first opened that store, there was nothing. It was like a wheel and a tire and like 2 bikes, and it was just, I was getting comfortable with it, but we had the ramps, and Ozzy was like so up for it. He was like wanted to build them so bad. He wanted to have like a little warehouse because he had his old warehouse.
Yeah, the square house. We talked about that. It was really cool.
He wanted to get that feeling again. Nariman helped too quite a bit. So we hung out there for hours, nights, and it was, I mean, I only realized it after, but the skate park was there to bring some hype to the store.
Yeah.
You can't open up a store and not be a BMXer. If you you gotta be a rider, you gotta make things, you gotta like have things that make your store cool. I had the ramps, the YouTube channel.
Right.
I'm sure the jams. Like, if you're just gonna open up a store and sell shit and you can't keep up a conversation with BMX, then just leave it to the guys that can handle that stuff.
Yeah.
So we built a ramp. We rode the ramp. I watched these guys kill this ramp. We had like Ty Dawson there, Dave Advent. They were amazing. This guy Ian Christensen was like incredible riding this ramp, and I still have the footage, and I need to get to editing it. This guy did things on that ramp that I didn't even think were possible.
Right.
Chris Silva rode the ramp. He was amazing. And we just hang out there. Once again, I realized it only after. It was an amazing introduction to the store. All these kids were asking, where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? We got the idea from that. All the Instagram posts of our street spots, the kids started asking about where is that. We figured out the name. Like, how could you not call a DVD where is that when all these kids are wanting to know where our spots are?
I love that about you guys too, because Ozzy, as well as Travis and a couple other people, are like such spot hoarders, which is completely fair, man. I completely understand the logic behind it.
It's definitely mellowed out a little bit.
Yeah. It
was at the beginning when it was like secretive, but I don't know. I feel like a lot has been hunted. So there's still a lot left, but a lot has been hunted. So the hype has kind of calmed down. But it was funny. People would ask where that is, and we would keep our mouths shut and we would laugh.
Yeah.
And like every time, where is that? We would just start giggling, and then we'd make a little joke or something. Like every time. People still, to this day, they go, where is that? I do it myself, and Ozzy laughs, and like,
yeah,
hilarious. Where is that? like.
That's so good.
So.
And part of that, too, is like at your jams, you take everybody to pretty decent spots. But people don't realize that there's so many good spots literally right around there. Like the last one, Jesse and I took off, and we found a really cool spot. I'm not going to say what it is because I got a clip on it for the video. But it was literally just right off the path. Like, we saw it, and we were like, oh, fuck this. We'll figure out where they are after.
So we're kind of at that point in our lives where now we could start showing everybody our spots.
Right.
Because we're older now. The store is been around. We've ridden all the spots. So now we take everybody to our spots because we're hosting a jam. And we want people to ride crazy shit. And, I think, too, that like our crew, Ozzy, me, Nariman, we need to get a little bit more respect with what we do, because like, who is gonna show you a day full of spots?
Right.
And, like, I do my street rides on Wednesdays. Like, who is ever gonna take you to your dream spots for like 3 hours, like for free or whatever, or nobody's ever told me like, come, I'll take you to all the shit. Like,
there you go, man.
So I mean, in the kitchen, a different story. They'll take me to everything for sure.
Yeah.
And I actually owe it to you guys to come here, which I've been slacking on. But I know we've always taken everybody everywhere. I think more people need to need to do
For
that
sure,
stuff.
man.
So, and people need to gather up their spots and then come up with a route and take their friends on spot tours.
So one thing I actually started doing last year is, for like a little bit of a filming tool for our videos, I actually made an Instagram page where I have photos of each spot, a ABD list on what's been done, and then it's just on there, and like I only let certain people follow it, so like people can look it up. It's spacegoats street spots, but I'm not gonna let you follow it.
Cool.
It's
that's awesome.
It's cool, man. Like I had started with just stuff in Kitchener, but now I have dudes in London that film with me. So there's spots in London, Hamilton, everywhere.
That's amazing. That's cool. Yeah, we all of us, we need more. People need to appreciate us more. That we do what we do, and
100%, man.
You know, like if not for us, who's gonna do anything? Nobody.
Right.
Nobody's gonna run any scenes. So yeah.
So for anybody watching, next time you see Harvester, buy that guy a fucking beer.
Yeah, or a bottle of water in the summer. And
There you go.
that's something
fair.
too with these jams. This is something else I've realized too, is I need to take and actually Eric and I were talking about your jams, and like he was telling me that you do it really well. But I need to take them to more food stops and more drink spots because it's scorching hot outside, and we kind of slack on that. Like, what if a kid gets dehydrated?
I always have, like my girlfriend really helped me out this year, but this year for the Money Talks Jam, I gave away a bunch of cash, but I also went out and bought a ton of water.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and then my girlfriend drove everybody's backpacks around, which is a huge fucking risk, by the way. Like, when I told her that, I was like, look, you don't have to do this at all. I don't know what these kids have in their bag. They could have, like, drugs, fucking weed or anything like that. I will tell everybody that if you have that shit, don't you fucking dare put it in there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I let them, like, I drove around the water, or she did. And it was really cool, man. Like, I try and make sure that there's tons of water for everybody. We always have coolers. There's always one cooler that is just for the Space Goats crew. So
that's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, that's how you care. So
yeah,
amazing.
Man.
So yeah.
One thing I've got to say, man, is that I have a ton of respect for your shop too, because you are the one shop that actually gives a fuck about the scene, and you throw jams. And people don't realize how much work actually goes into throwing a jam, especially a street jam, because you have to go out for weeks before and map out where these are, good routes, food stops, everything. And people don't realize
beer
that.
stops.
Beer stops too. That's another very important part.
That's a big one for a special person.
Yeah, one special person.
Yeah, we stopped at the last one at Jane and Finch, and we were at the store, and
I picked up some two-board gold for that special person.
Yeah. Yeah, that and the Monday Harvester jams, the HVXgoats too. Another big thing is the beer stops. So
yeah, it's such a cool thing to do though, man, because it's a shop that you can come to. That's not just a shop; it's a community. People come to your store, they buy stuff from you. They can then go to Ride Street with you, and then you put those clips back onto YouTube so that all their friends can see it.
Yeah,
I've always thought that that's really sick, man. I really like the way that you do your stuff. So good on you.
Thanks. And there was one other thing about that. What was it?
If you're gonna support mail order, this guy right fucking here, man.
Something else about that. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, but yeah, definitely like. You want to, like, I ride, so
yeah.
And about the 30s too, I've actually improved my riding in my 30s, which is awesome because I always was just so whatever.
Right.
Like I think now, like I'm starting to become a good rider, and now I feel good. For the past whatever amount of years, I was just like whatever, but now I'm like now I like to push my riding and my style, and yeah, so. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You've definitely been killing it. I like the stuff that you're doing.
Thanks.
So.
Thanks.
Do you got anything else on there?
Yeah, this was like a popular magazine in the early 2000s. It was called Chase Magazine.
Oh,
and
nice.
And like once again, we don't have this anymore. And this one's signed by like that probably Van Homan, cause I see Fit and I see a 6, and Van Homan, and then. Maybe that's Robbie Morales. I don't know. Anyway, but then this inside here, like this is guys that we looked up to. This is Kevin Salmon. And he was this cool black guy that like this like Rasta guy, and he signed that. And like Chris Silva like talks about this guy all the time. He loves him so much. This guy's got a really cool style, and he signed this for me when I was a little kid.
Another really underrated rider, Chris Silva. People don't understand how good he actually is.
He's awesome.
He hits fucking 20-stair handrails pegless.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck does that? Silva, that's it.
When I was in Barcelona, I rode with these kids, and they knew who Chris Silva was, which is awesome. So like, you know, you're somewhere else completely on the other side of the world, and they know who Chris Silva is. So yeah, Chris Silva he's a really cool person. He does a lot too. He does his DVDs. He has his crew. The ICC jams, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
He used to throw these incredible ICC jams, and that's kind of where we got our idea. We kind of passed the torch, and he's more than happy to pass the torch to us. And I showed up to an ICC jam probably like 2003, 2002.
Right.
I was a little shit. I had a piece of shit bike from Zeller's probably. I guess maybe this probably would have been like 2001 or something. We were so intimidated, my friend Jordan and I, when we went there. Like, we're like, holy fuck. Like, I know kids, when they come to my jam, that's the same thing. They just hang out there and watch people ride, and like, they're just there to chill. That was us. We were like seeing all these crazy guys doing these handrails at like on Christie spot there.
Yeah.
And like, we were just like, that's Chris Silva, and like, that's the guy from Hogtown, and like, it was, and they were probably, for sure, they were pros at that time too.
Yeah.
So that was also like, Toronto was always really good for our scene. There was always this crazy hardcore downtown scene, and the guys were really burly, and like I had that too. Like, we had stuff going on.
Right.
So you got to see these hardcore guys, and Chris Silva was one of them. So that was cool, that ICC crew. It was cool. This was a really old one. This guy, actually, this is Lucas Porzio. There was a Canadian Tire red Hyper bike from this guy. They must have sold thousands and thousands of this guy's bike. And he signed that. And this too, like, this is 2000. So this is right at the beginning. And they were giving these for free at the bike show. So like, can you imagine how much this magazine meant to me when I was a kid?
Yeah, man.
Like just looking through this over and over and over. And like even Dave Mira's on there. And
so sad about him, man. He was an absolute legend.
For sure. He was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And then Kevin Robertson also passed away last year. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Mira was always like, I wanted my bike, my shitty Zeller's bike, to look like a Haro and everything.
All right, so I was going to ask a little bit about distributors, because being a shop, you definitely have to deal with them. And I think not a lot of people know, but you actually have to buy your parts through a middleman, essentially. There's a guy who buys the parts from the companies in bulk and then sells them to shops in that area.
Yeah. So, there's distributors in Canada, and they do a really amazing job, and it's a really hard job because BMX is just kind of a little niche for regular bicycle stores. So I buy from distributors, and some of them treat me like kings, and I get product for, I think it's 40%. You mark it up 40%, and they each carry their own brands. And they, some of them have like a minimum order, and they sometimes send some little freebies with the product, like stickers or a T-shirt or something.
If you do it through 1664, which is now Brink,
they closed down.
Oh, they did. Oh my God, I forgot about that. They were the best, man. They would send you like candy too. Yeah, you'd get a package of like Maynard's gummy bears.
So, they closed, which just sucks. The guy that I dealt with, his name was Riley. I actually dealt with that guy when I was a little kid. I was 15 dealing with him, and he still worked there, which is crazy. 2 different time periods, and then which is awesome. Right. He was always really chill, and we talk about BMX. And most of these guys, some of them are riders, and you get to talk, shoot the shit a little bit. I'm sure you did that too.
Yeah.
And you just buy product for a little bit less. You hype the product. Some of them, if they have an Instagram account, they'll repost your pictures of a bike that you have in your store or what new shipment you got in. And yeah, I don't really know what else there is.
Some of them are really good too. Like when I worked at a shop, one of them in particular that really helped me out is 10-Pack, and I don't believe they're around either.
They're the best.
They were the best, man.
Yeah.
I called in because I was ordering a frame for myself. And I was like, yeah, so I just need this frame. And they're like, oh, for sure. It's like, yeah, I can't wait to ride it, man. Like, whoa, wait, this is yours? Like, yeah. Oh, dude, we'll give it to you 60% off today instead of 40. It's like, oh,
awesome.
Shit, man. Yeah, they always helped out.
Yeah, so 10-Pack had a warehouse in BC when I was a kid, and they opened me when I was a kid, which, once again, like, these distributors were amazing for opening me without a storefront. This is before the whole, like, I think this transition BMX store in Alberta changed everything for me.
Right.
So before that, the distributors were really lenient, and they had a BC office. And then when I got out of it for all those years and I got back into it, turns out they have a Toronto office too.
Oh, wow.
So I used to go there and it was actually a kid in the candy store. Did you ever come with me?
No.
No? It was a kid in a candy store, like the biggest warehouse ever, like Costco size, with BMX parts in it. And like I just opened up the store again, so like it was cool it was exciting for me because I was getting back into the store, and like all this product seemed pretty fresh to me, and like it always seemed so distant to me too because it was always so expensive.
Right.
So we were going in there trying on shoes, the Almond shoes that We the People own that brand.
Yeah, I remember those. I had a pair of those. Those were awesome.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to them? Did they just kind of die out?
Like clothing's interesting. So
it's hard, man. I work at a clothing store right now, and you know what? Like, it's hard because trends change every year, and you have to predict what those trends are going to be. Whether
you have that product.
Yeah, and it's got to be whether it's like BMX or anything else.
Yeah.
It's just difficult with clothing.
So actually, it's a real shame they were closing. So I went in there, and it was a really good opening to the store because the bikes were such good prices. So I went crazy there. I bought thousands and thousands of dollars of stuff from 10-Pack. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, the distributors are all good. They take care of me. And
what distributors are now in Canada? If 10-Pack is, well, I know 10-Pack's
there's not
gone.
too many. Kill 'em all. OGC is huge.
Yeah. They took over for 10-Pack.
Huge. We the People, Fiend, all S&M, Merit, Fit, everything. And then there's a couple little ones, lesser known brands, more like just regular no-name accessories and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kill 'em all is a really good one too. I really like them. Yeah. The day that I knocked my tooth out for the second time, I was riding it all in when I worked there. My fork snapped over the box jump, and Derek was actually doing an order through them that day. So we're in the hospital, and like apparently this is when Chris Kyle as well as Alex Donaghey were in BC, like at the actual Kill 'em all warehouse. So I thought that was kind of cool. Apparently, they were like, "Yeah, man, these guys say get well." I'm like, I doubt it, but if they did, thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, BSD is a good brand to
that's why
have.
I picked up a set of BSD forks after that.
Acid fork?
I think so. Yeah. They have the cool on the inside of them, right where I broke my last set. Is beefed up. It's really hard to see, but it's like
cool.
Yeah, it's way thicker. So hopefully I don't break these ones.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's a good brand. So.
Yeah.
And if you have a brand like that, you should be pretty good. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
You'd mentioned that that you really like Miami, and there's a couple spots that I see. Yeah. Like you take a trip every year. Do you have a certain spot that you like to go every year, or are you just trying to travel and see everything?
I for Miami, I have like a list of spots that I want to see, and like if I see like a video of somebody riding a new spot, I want to go find that spot. So like definitely seeking out spots there. But like I met the locals there before, and like just like I was saying with the Harvestodes, we've gotten on a level with the locals where it's like so chill. Like we rode for like 4 days straight, and it was fucking awesome. And we ate, we drank, we chilled, we hung out till dark. So that that's why I like that place so much. And my parents go there, so I just have this connection like from when I was a kid going there. But the weather's incredible, so.
Yeah, man, it looks awesome.
And I went to Arizona, which is something I've been wanting to go to since I was a kid. So
right.
Arizona was amazing too. Yeah, I got to ride all these spots that I've seen in videos, and that place is really beautiful too.
That's sick, man.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so I think that we're probably going to close it out now. It's looking kind of shitty out, but maybe we'll go ride some underground spots.
I got you a t-shirt.
Oh, dude, thank you.
So just like the 9 Club.
Yeah.
Give away things.
I love it.
This is a Harvester shirt. So that's for you. I don't know I remember you used to wear baggy stuff. So.
I do. I still do.
Yeah. So
thank you for that, XL.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, man. I love it.
Just so you know, this is Alex once again, and this is one of my riding friends.
He was killing it.
Yeah, and we both had free coasters in 2007 when that was the new free coaster revolution.
I remember that.
So we both had KHE coasters when that first came out, and they were fun. So
I feel like free coasters have just taken over too.
Yeah, like what's a cassette anymore? Oh, you ride a cassette.
I do. I ride the Profile Elite.
Oh, you have a cassette too?
I still ride a cassette.
Yeah, well, I probably for sure probably about even, because the little kids don't even know, they can't afford a coaster, or it's way out of their price range, or they just know a cassette, and then like a kid who now knows he's a rider, he'll buy a free coaster. So yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of bikes that have come out with the coasters now, with the completes, which is really
crazy.
Cool. Yeah,
crazy. Who would have thought? Like a free coaster was supposed to be like this thing that you bought it for a lot of money, and you were the only one that had it, and kids would come up to the skate park and say, "Oh, you have a free coaster? That's sick."
While you were adjusting it.
Yeah.
Now everybody's got a coaster. Show up to Joyride, every kid has a coaster.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's good to see cassette dudes, though. I like my whole crew. A lot of them ride cassettes. There's a couple of people that ride coasters too, but I like the cassette stuff. Yeah. You can still do quite a bit.
I probably wouldn't be riding anymore if I didn't have a...
You're definitely a coaster dude. You're a coaster dude, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys for watching so much. This has been great. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having us.
This is great. Alrighty, catch you in the next one.